Hello, Captains, and welcome to another All Things Star Trek, where we are going to wrap the entire Trekverse into one tidy warp speed package each week. So, this week, we'll talk about some big rumors from Skydance possibly ending its deal with Secret Hideout. We'll talk about the full list of Strange New Worlds Season 3 episode titles, and some major changes to Star Trek Online, from Endeavor overhauls to fleet credit revamps, and a whole new mission in the Multiversal War arc. Plus, we'll talk Voyager Homecoming. Did you really think I can skip one episode without mentioning Voyager? We're also gonna talk about some patch notes for Star Trek Online, a new Lockbox ship, and more. So, Captains, let's set our phasers to fun and engage. A major shift may be coming to the future of Star Trek on screen. This is kind of a change that could really mark the end of the Alex Kurtzman Secret Hideout era. Or at least, that's the rumor and a hope. Now, let's talk about some fascinating but still very unconfirmed reporting from the Tachyon Pulse podcast. If the details are true, Skydance, Paramount's new partner, is taking a long, hard look at the exclusivity deal with Secret Hideout. And the consequences for the Star Trek franchise could be massive. Now, let's break this all down. What do we know? What is still speculation? Most of it is still speculation. And what could this actually mean for the shows and stories that are coming in the next 5 years? Here's what Tachyon Pulse Podcast has reported. Skydance, under David Ellison, has reportedly requested contract details from Paramount regarding Secret Hideout's exclusivity deal over Trek. They've also asked about penalties for early termination, indicating they're evaluating whether to renew or just simply walk away. Now, Larry Wasserman has been tasked with analyzing the financial implications, including ongoing costs and post-production expenses that are tied to current projects. To be clear, again, this has not been confirmed by Skydance or Paramount, but the leak came from someone reportedly within Paramount, and the lack of formal contract renewal, at least we hope, is saying something. Now, here's where it gets complicated and important. Secret Hideout's current contract is exclusive. That means no other Star Trek production can be developed by either Paramount or Skydance until Secret Hideout's work wraps. It's not negotiable, it's not optional. And that work, well, it could literally stretch to 2026, 2027 even. Once you factor in post-production time, so even if a new team came in right after they wrap the post-production for whatever the last show is going to be, we might not see anything new until 2029 or 2030, maybe 2031. Think about that. No new series, no new creators, just, waiting until Skydance finds a way to legally cut ties or negotiate a workaround. Now, this exclusivity deal isn't just a Star Trek problem. Exclusivity deals are under increasing scrutiny across the entertainment industry. On one hand, I have to say it really does make sense. If you are going to invest time and money, and most importantly money, into developing a show for whatever studio you're working with, you need to make sure that you do have an exclusive deal for a certain amount of time. Now, Netflix had similar issues with Marvel shows like Daredevil. Remember, there was, I think it was 2-year cooling off period or 5-year cooling off period. before characters could return to Disney, for instance. Now, like I said, on one hand, you really need some kind of exclusivity deal because you really do need to make sure that when you're investing time and money into a project, you'll be able to actually make something out of it. On the other hand, I understand that there is let's say, an argument to be made that these deals often stifle creativity and limit flexibility. Worse, they can lock out new voices and perspectives. Exactly what Star Trek was built to embrace. Now, if Skydance wants to rebuild Star Trek as a flagship brand for streaming and fun, they really do have to address the contract first. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or Starship, which would be really weird. Secret Hideout's era has been, let's put it mildly, divisive. For every fan who, loves Strange New Worlds, there's another who bailed after Picard Season 1. For every Emmy nod, there's a Reddit thread that you have of fans saying, "I'm out." And it's not just about the quality, it's about trust. There is a huge segment of Trek fandom that simply won't watch anything from Secret Hideout anymore. And we have seen that with, for instance, Picard Season 3. A lot of people came online, were praising the show. People who, let's say, have issues with this new Trek era, they came online, they were really praising the show, saying, hey, this is really different, it's good. And you still had a huge number of people who were like, no, I don't care. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't trust you. I don't trust anything coming from this team. So, it eventually got better, but, you still have that fandom chunk that really is simply not going to watch anything coming from Secret Hideout. That's a brand liability. And Paramount, and if one day Skydance actually takes over the Paramount, they really can't ignore that. So even if you did like what Secret Hideout has done, and look, I personally thought that animation was some of their best output, the brand damage may already be done. And okay, let's get personal for a minute. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think moving on from Secret Hideout could be a very good thing. Look, Kurtzman's team had a time. They had a lot of time. And while they delivered some moments of brilliance, like Picard Season 3, it genuinely did surprise me. The overall output fractured the fandom, and I get why. Many fans feel betrayed, many fans feel ignored, and many fans are just simply burned out. Would I love to see Star Trek Legacy? Absolutely. But if the cost of Legacy is a 4-year delay to the next era of Trek storytelling, then yeah, I'll take the clean slate. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one, or the hopeful in my case. And I'll be honest, between Prodigy and Voyager Homecoming in comics that are coming in September, I feel like I'm already getting the continuation I crave. So, what happens next? If Skydance doesn't end the Secret Hideout deal, we'll probably hear about it by mid to late 2025. Until then, well, nothing's official. But the writing might already be on the wall. Again, this is hopeful me seeing the things in a certain way. We have no renewal talks. We have no new green lights. We have just the long tail of post-production on Starfleet, Academy, and Strange New Worlds. If true, the next generation of Star Trek won't begin until 2029. The good news? that actually gives Paramount and Skydance time to actually plan this time. So let's hope they use it well. Now, what do you think about it? Am I looking at this with colored eyeglasses on? Is it that I really want somebody new to head Star Trek that I'm seeing and interpreting things in this way? How do you feel about this news? Well, actually, rumor. Again, this is just a rumor. Now let's shift gears from franchise futures and some contract tension to storytelling ahead. Let's shift from Skydance to Strange New Worlds and take a look at the newly revealed episode titles for Season 3. We now have our first official look at Strange New Worlds Season 3. At least we have an official look at a title list of Strange New Worlds Season 3. Paramount Plus has revealed the full lineup of episode names for the upcoming season, which is going to kick off on July 17th with a 2-episode premiere. Now, let's talk a little bit about the release schedule, some episode titles, and what these names might tease, without actually jumping too deep into wild speculation, because let's be honest, title-based theories are a recipe for a disaster. Now, what we know is that Season 3 will consist of 10 episodes, starting with a 2-episode premiere on Thursday, July 17th, and will continue weekly throughout the finale on September 11th. Now, we're going to be back at the USS Enterprise under Captain Spike leadership, of course, and we'll be picking up right after Season 2 cliffhanger involving the Gorn conflict. But there's more to the season and just resolving that arc. Now, according to the Paramount, Season 3 will blend classic Trek themes, fate, beauty, comedy, romance, mystery, with some fresh tonal experiments and some genre shifts. They say that each episode will feel unique. Let's see how that one works out. So let's see the list of titles in order. Episode 1, Hegemony Part 2. Then we have Wedding Bell Blues. Episode 3 would be Shuttle to Kenfori. Episode 4, A Space Adventure Hour. Episode 5, Through the Lens of Time. Episode 6, The Shallot Who Ate Its Tail. Episode 7, What is Starfleet? Episode 8, 4.5 Vulcans. I think we might have seen preview in the trailer of that one. Episode 9 is Terrarium, and Episode 10 is New Life and New Civilizations. Now, these titles, some kind of lean into action or lore, like Hegemony Part 2, What is Starfleet? Others kind of sound comedic or experimental, maybe like a Space Adventure Hour or 4.5 Vulcans. And a few, like Through the Lens of Time, kind of hint at some actual sci-fi concepts. At least I hope. Okay, cards on the table. I've never been the biggest fan of predicting storylines just from titles. It can be a bit of a trap. You know, you can build up wild theories in your head, and when the episode goes somewhere completely different, you feel totally disappointed, even if it's good. Now, that said, I really can't help but be intrigued by a few of these. A Space Adventure Hour kind of sounds fun. Through the Lens of Time looks like time travel or a memory episode. And finally, A New Life and New Civilizations kind of feels like a title that promises kind of big ideas and maybe some first directions. So even though I'm choosing not to speculate too much, I admit I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. And thankfully, I won't have to wait that long, because as I said at the beginning, Strange New Worlds is going to premiere on July 17th. Now in US and Canada, it's going to stream on Paramount Plus, and some other international markets that have Paramount Plus. In certain parts of Europe, it will be streaming via Sky's Showtime. So let's mark our dates. Adventure awaits. Why am I rhyming? I don't know. Tell me, what do you think about these titles? Are there some that are making you interested or nervous? Let's talk about it. Now let's move from screen to page, because IDW Star Trek issue 32 wraps up the lore war arc in the epic multiverse showdown featuring Cisco, lore, and some wild canon chaos. Last Friday, comicbooklive.com dropped a preview of Star Trek issue 32. And it looks like we're headed straight into the explosive finale of the Lore War saga. Lore War Part 5 of 5 is written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with art by David Tinto. This issue is continuing the high-stakes mission of Captain Sisko and his crew, who are now scattered across the galaxy. In this issue, all main characters like Spock, Hugh, Alexander, and Paris are on a solo missions working to free friends who have fallen under the Lore's control. And it seems that it will be a kind of a personal, emotional, and a dangerous path for all of them. Meanwhile, Sisko's going head-to-head with Lore in a final showdown. So, I guess no pressure? Just the fate of the entire universe is on the line? If they succeed, things go back to normal. But if Lore wins, he resets the entire universe again. I just want to give a shout out to Comic Book Club's live weekly live stream airing every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I've been watching them for a while now, and it's a great watch and a place for fans to geek out over their favorite books and in some cases even chat with creators. So, if you're into Star Trek comics, or generally if you're into comics, it is definitely worth checking out. Now, here's the thing I've noticed, and the reason I really love IDW's Trek comics: they go where live action can't. So we're talking big and bold and galaxy-breaking ideas that simply wouldn't work in a live action. You know, comics can give us space to explore these wild scenarios with no consequences to main canon, and they keep things fresh, unpredictable, and just plain fun. And honestly, we really need more of this in Star Trek universe. Stories that aren't afraid to be daring, insane, and most of all, fun. You know, that's the magic of comics. So, Star Trek 32 is hitting shelves and digital platforms on June 4th. So let me know, are you following the Lore War arc? And what's your favorite off-canon Trek comic storyline? And speaking of post-series stories, Voyager Homecoming launches a brand new comic adventure that finally explores what happened after Voyager made it back to Earth. IDW just teased a limited comic series, Star Trek Voyager Homecoming, celebrating the show's 30th anniversary. Oh boy, it's been 30 years, and yes, it will pick up right where the TV series ended. So after Voyager returns to Earth, spending years in Delta Quadrant, their warm, home welcoming doesn't last. The crew is quickly faced with a dark secret that sends them back into action on one final mission. Captain Janeway, 7 of 9, and the rest of the crew are front and center as they leave Earth to begin, again, risking everything to protect what they love. We got the first look of David Nakayama's exclusive variant cover in CBR's article, and let me tell you, it is a stunner, featuring Janeway and Seven and the USS Voyager in all their glory. Homecoming is written by Susan and Tilly Bridges, and art is done by Angel Hernandez, and it seems that it's a type of a story that Voyager fans have been craving for years. Okay, now in full honesty, I love Voyager. I always wanted more stories about this crew. It's actually why I started watching Star Trek Prodigy, and I'm glad I did, because that ended up being one of the best surprises of this new Trek era. Well, for me at least. And yeah, Picard seasons 1 and 2 were, let's face it, unwatchable. But I stubbornly kept watching them because guess what? Just when I was about to jump ship in season 1, they literally beamed in 709 and pulled me right back in. So, okay, season 3 was decent, might I say even fun? So, back to Voyager. Here's the thing. Voyager never got to really grow. Some boneheaded network decisions really held it back, and you can see it. Characters couldn't evolve much because execs thought that new viewers wouldn't understand, or God forbid, take some time to actually get to know the characters. So we basically got a reset button pressed every time a new season started. That's why these comics matter so much. They're tapping into all that unused potential. Finally, I hope we will get to see progression and consequences and emotional fallout that we kind of missed out on. So bring it on. I'm here for every panel. Voyager Homecoming is launching in September this year, so if you're a Voyager fan like I am, this one is definitely going to be on my must-read list. So let me know in the comments, do you think Voyager deserved more back in the day? And are you picking this one up? Because I cannot wait till September comes. Now we move from the page to the playable. Heart of the matter, the latest Star Trek Online update takes the multiverse war to new heights, with Control Borg, some new rewards, and some serious high-stakes storytelling. A new chapter in Star Trek Online Multiverse just dropped. It's called Heart of the Matter. This update introduces a new mini-episode titled All That Matter. You'll join Captain Nethbar and Admiral Kamarke in a mission to recover some stolen Lucari protomatter technology. That's a big deal, considering how vital protomatter is to Lucari civilization and how dangerous it can be in the wrong hands. This ties into the ongoing multiversal arc, deepening the storyline and is kind of expanding the threat landscape with the new Borg activity across timelines. Now, besides the new story episode, we also got the new TFO, the Devil's Heart. And boy was I glad to see that one. Usually the new TFOs are all space-based. And I genuinely like the ground game. I know, I'm weird like that, but sometimes I actually like the ground game. Now, in this TFO, you face against the Control Borg. Yes, that Control from Discovery, inside the warped version of the Dyson Sphere. So your task in the TFO is trying to secure the fragment of a mysterious artifact called the Devil's Heart. Now, the important note, the mission features intense visual effects and some flashing lights, so some players with, photosensitivity should proceed with caution and adjust the settings. Now, let's talk about the event reward. Progressing through this content will earn you parts of the new Kira's Boon space set. You will be getting anti-proton beam array. You will also get Portal Transphasic Torpedo Launcher that teleports torpedoes into enemy hulls, and the Kita's Promise Console, which will buff anti-proton damage and is going to raise ship power levels. So when it comes to this set of Kita's Boon Space Set, I didn't hear players being really too excited about it, but since I'm playing this one, I'm not buying out this one. I'll have to wait until, 20-day mark so I can pick it up and actually start testing it. We also got some other updates alongside the new episode event. We got the Promellian Command Battlecruiser that is now a part of the Infinity Lockbox, and the Endeavor system has been expanded, but we'll talk about it later on in the episode. Now, whether you're chasing the new gear, exploring the multiverse, or just love tormenting Borg with new toys, it is Heart of the Matter is a good, decent update that moves Star Trek Online story and systems forward. So, say hi when you're in Dyson Sphere, Captains. Let's chat. You know what? New content is always great, but it's only as good as its stability. So let's look at STO's latest patch fixes and go from there. Another patch, another round of fixes, adjustments, and thankfully some welcome quality of life updates. So let's break down everything that we got in this latest update. We got the event buyout cost reduction. First, the event buyout cost has been slashed from 40 to 20 progression points. We got the Endeavor fixes. 2 key Endeavor stats were corrected. Shield regeneration now properly grants +1 per rank and is maxing at 25%. And armor penetration is fixed at 0.5% per rank, capping it at 12.5%. We also got console and item adjustments. Kita's Boon Universal Console had its anti-proton damage scaling slightly nerfed for some balance reasons, and the polymorphic probe array is now claimable by eligible characters regardless of past level of restriction bugs. We got also some starship fixes. We got a number of visual and mechanical fixes like Paladin and Ranger Battlecruisers. Hull materials and molecular reconstruction indicators now display properly. World Razor Temporal Ops Juggernaut now deploys correctly. Also, we got a fix for legendary Akira multi-mission command cruiser that can finally equip cannons again. We also got some mission and story tweaks. When it comes to mission adjustments, the Devil's Heart, TFO, briefing timer shortened for better flow, mini-boss difficulty was increased, and final boss encounter was rebalanced with fewer infiltrators, more enemy type diversity. Story fixes, the Phoenix box item now bind correctly as intended, and a tooltip on Vorgon Cypheus, I don't know how to pronounce that, now shows Tetrion damage boosts correctly. It used to be labeled incorrectly as Polaron damage. Now, this patch doesn't reinvent Star Trek Online, but it does tighten up some critical system, fix some annoying bugs, and is going to streamline your play. Now, whether you're going to be diving into Devil's Heart or finally getting your Curious Cannon backs, there's something in here for a lot of people. You can check the full patch notes and all the gritty details without my annoyingly bad pronunciation of the ship names. Links are in the description. And again, I'll see you in a game, Captains. And onto something a little bit shinier. Literally. The Promellian Command Battlecruiser has arrived via the Lockbox. It's sleek, tanky, and it's rooted in TNG history. But is it actually worth the grind? Let's check it out. This week, Star Trek Online players on PC got a brand new ship added to the Infinity Lockbox lineup. The Promellian Combat Battlecruiser is a T6 warship that has some connections to TNG. Originally, it was featured in Booby Trap, the episode of TNG, and the Promellian warships were praised by none other than Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Now, that legacy is getting a full command cruiser treatment in Star Trek Online. So let's go over some specs. It's a tier 6 ship. It's usable by all factions. It comes with a 5-3 weapon layout and a Commander-Engineer Command hybrid seat, giving it some flexibility. It has a base turn rate of 8.75 with plus 10 weapon, plus 5 engine, and plus 5 shield power bonuses. This ship can equip dual cannons, and it features a strong kind of defensive playstyle. At least that's what it seems to me, but you check out some more experienced players for this one. It has a unique console called Gamma Burst, and according to everything I'm reading here on the official Star Trek Online post about this ship, is essentially AoE taunt, which is followed by a radiation burst that heals and buffs the ship. You will also get the Gravitic Inversion Starship trait, and when activated, it deploys 3 gravitational zones that slow and damage enemies, pulling them inward. So radiation damage stacks up, and it's kind of great for, I don't know, crowd control. If you're into Admiralty missions, its stats are also solid. It has 57 engineering, 41 tactical, 28 science, with a plus 20 bonus to engineering and tactical when is used solo. Look, I'm a fan of cool ships with history, and this one's got both. But it's in the lockbox, and honestly, unless I get real lucky, or it turns out to be some kind of a meta breaker, I am not chasing this one down. It's already hard enough choosing which lockbox ship to prioritize with my campaign Infinity token. So while this design is slick, I'm kind of saving my campaign tokens for something higher on my wish list. Now, if you're a collector or just a huge TNG fan though, this one's probably a real consideration. But I would always suggest wait for some of the experienced players to play with it so they can tell us, is it worth it or not? Well, you know, some captains like to chase ships, others will be stuck grinding Endeavor ranks. Now, let's return to that system update I mentioned a few moments ago, and let's explore why it's not landing well with everyone. We got some big news coming out of Star Trek Online. The Endeavor system is getting a serious overhaul in June update for PC players. So what is Endeavor system? In short, it is a way for 60+ captains to earn points by finishing daily challenges, and in turn are getting a boost to various abilities, traits, etc. So let's break it down. The first major change is that the Endeavor rank is being raised from 750 to 1250. And yes, it opens up a whole new tier of perks for dedicated players. So what are these perks? Here's a couple of them. We are getting boosted armor penetration, we get faster captain ability recharge, we got quicker bridge officer cooldowns, we also get some improved shield regeneration, some damage output upgrades for alpha, beta, and gamma, and all of these of course apply for both ground and space combat. So no matter your playstyle, there's something there. They are also adding milestone rewards for hitting specific ranks. When you get to rank 450, it will get you the Endeavor Enthusiast title. Rank 600 will get you 300 low-buy crystals. Rank 750 will unlock the To Boldly Go title. And rank 1250, it's the big one, and it will net you a vanity shield for your ship. Plus, there's now an Endeavor reward store, so you can grab your unlocked items at any time with no more digging around or missing out. Now, here's the thing. I've been playing Star Trek Online for about 2 years now, and I'm sitting at the rank 350 or 355. Basically, I'm gonna need another month to get to halfway point. So 2 years is kind of a halfway point for me. So this news was kind of annoying. I get that endeavors are supposed to be a long-term system, and yes, updates can sometimes skew towards veteran players, which is fine. They deserve some love too. But raising the cap that high just makes the grind feel like a never-ending task, or even worse, a chore. So let's be honest, if you're a new player, it will take you a couple of months to even understand why the hell should you care about endeavors. Star Trek Online has this habit to throw a mountain of info at you with very little guidance. And now, in one patch, I'm suddenly only 25% through the whole system instead of half. Look, I love this game, but a 5 to 6 year grind of the same repeating tasks is just, nope. It's nope. Nope for me. At minimum, Star Trek Online needs to reduce the time it takes to reach maximum rank. Give us some more diverse tasks. Add Endeavor XP boosts for recruits. And maybe we should cap the grind at 2 or 2.5 years. Max. Not 6. 6 is way too much. And this is like 5.75. I think I saw that. Honestly, if I was starting today, I'd probably avoid endeavors altogether. That's not a great sign. Now, for more information about this update, please make sure to check out this Casual SAB's video breaking down the update. He's got some really solid suggestions that I think could make way more sense for player retention and are not going to seem like all of this is unattainable. Like, why am I bothering with this? I will never get to the end of it. Okay, I admit it, I'm not neutral on this topic. Look, I have this thing where I want to complete things, so seeing something that I will never be able to complete, or maybe in 5 to 6 years, it's annoying. But what do you think? Is this a great expansion for a long-time players, or is Star Trek Online stretching the grind a little too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And before we wrap up, let's beam into one of the quietest but kind of possibly really big update for STO's fleet credit changes. With some new rewards and some better ratios, this could be the economy fix players have been waiting for? Let's see. So, like I just said, we have some big news. There's been a really stealth update to Star Trek Online Fleet Economy, and if you missed it, trust me, you're not alone. This one didn't show up in patch notes, but it really could have a major impact on how we engage with fleet holdings, Dilithium, and even duty officer dumps. So let's unpack the new fleet credit changes. And thanks to Casual SAB, who found this in and kind of told us about it in his June 4th recap. And let's talk about why Deca might have just pulled off a quiet economic buff that kind of helps both new and veteran players alike. So, what happened? Without any fanfare, in the patch notes, Deca has made a substantial change to how fleet credits are earned now. First reported via Borticus on BlueSky and was spotted by players like Casual SAB. The new system now gives 3 fleet credits per 1 dilithium. That's a change because up until now it was 1-to-1 ratio. Now this could be a major improvement to one of the most grind-intensive parts of the game. If you are contributing to fleet holdings, that dilithium now gives you triple the reward in fleet credits. This kind of incentivizes participation, kind of helps smooth some of the dilithium surplus that has plagued the economy for years, and makes contributing feel way more worthwhile. Now, that's not all. We also got the contributions of duty officers are now earn double the fleet credits. This helps clear out inventory and actually rewards players who actively engage with those systems. Look, it's a big win for players who don't want to just dump dilithium, but also have tons of duty officers they've been stockpiling. But you still need to watch out for, now it's a 10 million fleet credit cap. Once you hit that ceiling, any additional fleet credit earned is lost. So if you're sitting on a ton of dilithium or officers to contribute, pace yourself or spend those credits first. Now let's talk about where this news actually came from. It wasn't the patch notes, like I said, it wasn't posted in the official forums. It came from Borticus and his BlueSky account. Look, I get it. The developers are people too. They like their social platforms. But something as important as a major change to the game's economy really needs to be in official patch notes. This isn't a minor, tweak. It really directly affects some of the market behavior and the player progression. The fact that this had to be caught by content creators like Casual SAB just proves that Deca really needs to tighten up their communication strategy. Now, let's talk about... Look, I don't want to be negative about this. This is a great update, and thanks to Borticus for letting us know. But honestly, they really need to make sure that announcements like this get put into the official notes. Okay, so let's break this down. What does this mean for us moving forward? Well, first of all, the value of the fleet credit bonus pools is likely to go up as the demand rises. We know more players might start pushing fleet progress to take advantage of the improved ratios. We know that, well, at least the hope is that armadas could become more active, especially for smaller fleets that struggle to attract dilithium donations. And it may shift how people approach Doff farming. Now, it's more efficient to trade them in for credits. It also creates some opportunities for newer players to engage with systems that kind of used to feel honestly pointless early on. Instead of saving dilithium only for upgrades or low-buy key sales, they might be more inclined to invest in their fleet. So at the end of it, here's where I stand. This change is great. It's long overdue, it's smartly targeted, and it really helps both veteran players with too much dilithium and new players looking for some relevance in a kind of bloated system. Yes, the lack of the announcement is a little bit frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. And the change this impactful really needs to be clearly explained in the batch notes, period. There's no excuse for it. But the design team at Deca absolutely nailed the intent here. They're trying to chip away at the long-standing dilithium surplus and encouraging players to reinvest in fleets and armadas. This isn't just smart, it's kind of an update that really STO needs more of. So to the Deca team, A+ on the mechanic, C- on the rollout. Let's do both next time. Yep. And that's it for this week, Captains. You know, whether you're cautiously optimistic about Star Trek's creative future, you're deep into the STO's grind, or you're celebrating Voyager's comic comeback like some of us are, one thing's clear. There's no shortage of stories worth watching, playing, or debating. That's fun too. The Skydance rumor might mean a long wait ahead, but it could also bring some long overdue change. Meanwhile, we have Strange New Worlds. It looks like it's staying bold and weird in all the right ways. We'll see. And on the Star Trek Online front, yeah, there's grind, but there's also growth. So we'll keep pushing for balance, and don't be afraid to take breaks if it kind of starts feeling like a second job. Until next time, stay curious like you, stay honorable like Klingon, stay logical like a Vulcan, and remember, never stop exploring the stars or imagining the wild possibilities. See you next week.